Everything's good. All right. Oh, let me just Markee, right? Zach Markee.
Yep.
Is that okay? Cool. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I have a special guest from the ORAT school community here. We got Zach Markee. Welcome to my channel, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite.
Oh yeah, man. You posted something in the community, and I thought it was something I want to dig deeper into. But before we move into that, why don't you tell my audience a little bit about your background and maybe your portfolio?
Yeah. My name is Zach. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a real estate broker here. Just started investing accidentally about 3.5 years ago. I've had my license for about 7 years. Bought my first house that I still live in a little over 4 years ago, and then bought my first rental about 6 months after that. Currently, I have six doors, four in Arizona, two in South Carolina. The plan on the two in South Carolina, they will be flips. And then the plan is always long term rentals, of course, but I just found two great deals to flip out there. So that's where we're moving right now.
Cool. Yeah. So it sounds like, from your post or whatever we want to call it in the school community, you were killing it at one point, right? So let me just kind of go. He says, you first got into real estate investing, you wanted that flashy life, right? Like a lot of those influencers. You're bringing in 20 to 30K a month, selling new builds, and then you decided to buy like the 100K truck, the Tesla, the Corvette. You had all these toys, and then all
Mhm.
of a sudden the rates kind of shot up, and like you said your income went from about 300K to basically zero. So kind of let's dig into this a little bit. So how did things change for you?
Yeah. Good old federal government raising rates. People told me, hey, 2% rates are not normal. Don't get used to it. And I just refused to believe them because all I could see was dollar signs. And yeah, I was going crazy. I was making 20, $30,000 per month. I did a flip. I made 150 net on it. Um, just was crushing it. And then I had all these things I wanted. I wanted a Corvette. I wanted a Tesla. I wanted a truck. I wanted this monster truck, and I bought all of it. And I bought jet skis, and I bought just whatever. I went on Vegas trips all the time. I went to Florida. I went wherever I wanted because money wasn't a thing at the time, and it was everything was great. And then when the rates went from 2 to 7, basically in a 2 month span, I had 20 deals in the pipeline to zero. And there was about 6 months here in Arizona where the market was completely dead. I mean, it was dead everywhere, but it was extremely dead here because our prices have gone up 100% in 2 years. And then you add 6, 7% interest rates, nobody can afford to buy. And so, yeah, I went had no transactions after that for about 6 months.
So I think, rates shifting like that caught a lot of people, by surprise. So like I invested as an LP in a syndication, and, for exactly like what Zuber talked about, a lot of people got caught with the rates. But what was your like money mindset or money background going into all of this? Like, were these decisions that you would say that you had a good money background making these purchases and whatnot?
Not at all. Nobody in my family has money. Nobody in my circle has money. I don't consider myself successful, but people call me their successful friend. So if that kind of tells you, most of my friends don't even own a house yet. And so I knew nothing about money. I just knew that if I had it in the bank, I could go spend it. And so that's what I was doing. I was spending it and spending it. And eventually I stopped and started changing my mindset of who I'm going to follow, what kind of social media influencers I was watching, changing from the guys driving the Lambos telling you that you have to have a Lambo or nobody's going to take you serious, and changing that to the guy that says, no, you don't need a Lambo. I'm rich. I drive a Toyota Camry. And that kind of changed the mindset of like, okay, I don't need all this, dumb toys.
No, talking about mindset and I guess influencers or people that you were following and whatnot. So, like you said, like I guess who did you come across that kind of changed your thought process or your viewpoint on a lot of this?
Yeah, so most of it was one rental at a time. Michael Zuber, had been following him on Instagram. Don't know how I came across his page, but just kind of been following him. Then found him on Twitter and just started following more. And just the more I got into his story, I bought the book, which I'm not a reader, so like that, knowing I bought that book means something for me. And just kind of the way his thought process is of living below your means, not buying all the dumb stuff, buying assets that are going to go up in value. Don't buy alligator properties, buy cash flow, and live a normal life. You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to, you don't have to point out to people, oh, look at this car I have, look at this truck I have, look how big my house is. Like, that's just because that's what the people who are on the front page of YouTube and stuff are doing. That doesn't mean I have to be like that.
Well, not that you don't have to be like that, but it's a lot of it is more his mindset too, is like if you're generating the income and not trading your time just for the money, right? And you have all these assets that are creating this income, then yeah, you can enjoy, travel, spend. But like you did it, I made a lot of these mistakes also. It was we were working, and like you said, money comes in, and it basically money went right back out, and you had nothing to really. Yeah, well, like you said, you had trucks and all these toys to show for it, but I'm sure when you sold most of them, you probably didn't get what you paid for them. I would think.
No, I took a loss on every single one of them, and so thankfully the smaller stuff I paid cash for. The big truck obviously I had a loan for, but like the jet skis I paid cash, the Tesla I paid cash, the vet I paid cash. Like, which is nice because I was like, okay, I'm not getting in debt. But yeah, when I did end up having to sell all those things, I did take a loss on every single one of them. So that's where I was like, okay, these are not assets, obviously. These are depreciating. Like, I need to go get something that appreciates.
So now that you came across, one rental at a time, Michael Zuber, and you've changed your mindset, how has your agent side and even your maybe your portfolio, like how does that all relate now? How does that all look forward in the future for you?
Yeah. So before, when I was, killing it, I went through a thing where I started my own brokerage and I was recruiting all these agents, and I was so worried about getting everyone else paid. I was like, I got to help all these people make money. I want them to all be able to do what I do. And I wasn't worried about myself. And I wasn't trying to take on clients. I wasn't trying to work with buyers, work with sellers. I wasn't doing my job. And so another reason why your income goes to zero is because you're so busy trying to help out other people that you forget to take care of yourself. And so I did go back to, taking care of myself, going back to being a real estate broker, because in my mind, I thought I was past that. I was like, I'm an investor now. I have rentals, I have done flips. I don't need to work with buyers and sellers. That was my mindset in the beginning. When I realized that's my job. My job is to help buyers and sellers. The flips and the rentals is for me for long term, wealth.
I love that. I think that's the biggest thing is really the mindset shift. And a lot of people, they don't ever find that community, right? They don't find other people that are doing it and doing the similar things. Because if not, you're kind of in that same path, right? Money comes in, you're buying the toys, you're traveling and whatnot. So it seems like you found this great community of one rental at a time, and you've also joined the school community.
Yep.
So what's your thoughts on that? And a lot of people reach out to me and are like, "Oh, is it worth $20 a month?" and all these things. So what do you how would you explain what's going on inside the school community?
Yeah, it's great. It's just a bunch of like minded people who want to, be successful and are willing to help other people get there as well. And the $20, I mean, that's, to me, that's one lunch. Like, I eat at home one time for lunch instead of going out to eat. Like, that's $20 isn't the reason why you shouldn't join it. That's nothing for what you get. And then having access to all these millionaire people that you can actually ask questions to and actually communicate with, it's not like you're being sold. It's not like, okay, well, you can talk to me if you buy my course, or hey, I'll answer your question if you pay me this amount of money. You can just ask these people anything within that, hour class or whatever they're putting on.
Yeah, totally agree. Even just the members, right? Everyone's at different levels. Some people are doing, mobile home parks. Some people are doing more creative finance. Some people are doing the what is Jared doing again? The rent by the room, right? His
Yep.
dad split. So people are doing different strategies, right? And now that's going back to that, we kind of touched on it off camera, right? Talking about strategies, like in these influencers, a lot of them are talking about, I have all these or all these properties with none of my own money in the deal, or I'm doing all these subject to type of things. And like we talked about, it's kind of like, oh, those are interesting things to understand and know, but it's definitely not as easy as a lot of these people on social media are making it.
Yeah, that, and they don't teach you the right things either. They can teach you how to do a subject to deal, but they're also teaching like, hey, it's okay to pay full market value for a property because you're getting a 3% interest rate. Or hey, it's okay to take on an alligator property that doesn't cash flow because the value is going to go up eventually at some point. So don't worry about the $300 you're going to lose every month because eventually that house will go up. And where I think that's horrible advice. I think people like myself who don't have a high paying job, like a W 2, we don't have the ability to pay for these alligator properties. If I have a month where I don't make any sales, guess what? That's coming out of my savings or that's coming out of my personal bank account. Like, I think it's just a horrible thing to teach to tell people they'll go up over time. Who cares? Just eat it. It's like, no, cash flow over everything.
And I think another important thing is, and a lot of people, maybe a lot of people don't realize or notice it as much because of the market they invest in. But like for yourself, being in Arizona, right? You're kind of in that one of those specific markets like Texas, Florida, that their market has drastically changed with the higher rates and the iBuyers being gone and whatnot. So like you're saying for yourself, people are investing for appreciation. And, oh, values are always going to go up, but you are definitely in one of those markets where you guys have been hit quite a bit or hit hard with the higher interest rate. So can you talk about your market where you're in right now a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, during COVID, obviously, we went up insane. I bought a house right before COVID or right during, and for 300,000, it got up to 550 within less than 2 years. So, I mean, it almost doubled in 2 years. So that's great. Problem is when the rates shot down, it's 8% now, 7%. $550,000 house is like 4 grand a month. People in my neighborhood aren't trying to pay 4 grand a month. It's a nice neighborhood, but it's not a $4,000 a month neighborhood. And so obviously we got hit. It's probably gone down like 8 to 10%. But like overall, I'm still up 70, 80%. But people now, it's like trying to get in, it's like it's so expensive. The only way you can get a house right now is if you go to a new builder and you can get them to buy down the rate to something with a four handle on it.
So that also has transitioned you into looking at out of state investing or remote investing. So you are investing in South Carolina. So how did that come across your table?
Yeah, so I was following I've been looking like Arizona. My average sales price is 500 grand. That's insane. And so you're talking 100 grand. If you're putting in 20% down, you're not getting that back for 20 years basically. So I started looking. I was like, what other areas I'm okay with? I realized Midwest, those are kind of areas, the cheaper portfolio areas is where I wanted. Was listening to a podcast of a guy I met in a real estate conference in Jamaica. He was doing a podcast with another guy who was getting his license in Greenville, South Carolina. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
I
Then my
like that
buddy,
area. I
who
like
is
Greenville.
a wholesaler, unintentionally didn't tell him about it, whatever. He called me, he's like, hey, you're looking for out of state, right? And I was like, I'm still looking. Yeah, what's up? He's like, I got one in Greenville, South Carolina. And I was like, okay, that's really weird because I just met this guy who's a realtor or getting his license in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, unintentionally didn't tell you. And then an hour later, you tell me you have a deal in Greenville, South Carolina. I was like, that's a sign. Like there's something there with that. I do the numbers. I call the realtor. It's actually a husband and wife team. Talk with the wife. She runs all the numbers. She goes out to the property, walks it for me. And, the deal was a great deal. And so I bought it, got a contractor. I flew out, met a great contractor. I've got a great relationship with the contractor now. And, now we're like, that's my market. I've been out there twice. And like, I don't know if I'll buy another house in South Carolina as far as an investment. Maybe, for myself, a personal residence maybe down the road. But I don't know if I'll buy another house in Arizona. I probably will just stick with South Carolina just because the spreads are so much better.
Plus, it's a great market. I love it over there. My
Yeah.
son's mom is from North Carolina, so when we go to North Carolina, we come down to South Carolina. Yeah, I love Greenville. Greenville is super cool. I actually was looking at a property there earlier, a few years ago, but The one thing was definitely the taxes for outside investors. And it kind of, I mean, as long as you know it going in, but kind of
Right.
caught me off by surprise a little bit in the beginning. Plus, it was more like a condo type of thing, so I had an HOA, so I was kind of, I don't think we're gonna do this, but yeah, I love that market. It's super cool over there.
Yeah, it's a much faster moving market than out here. I like to do cheap stuff, things that even if I'm flipping or buying as a rental, I want it to be cheap. I don't want to be stuck with a $3,000 mortgage that I have to come out of pocket and pay for. My hard money payment on the house right now is $1,000 a month. It doesn't kill me, and even if we make 30 grand on it, 40 grand on it for flipping it, that's okay because I'm only in the deal 30 or 40 grand, so I'm getting 100% return on my money.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's, so I'm in Hawaii and I know guys, I don't know how they do it. I mean, I know people are doing it. They're doing $1 million flips, and but yeah, that's a lot of holding costs. But a lot of them, they did get started, right? They did get started in the Midwest or in smaller markets. They got their feet wet, kind of got their systems in place, and now they're doing it here. But yeah, that's a lot of holding costs, if it doesn't move. And I think, and a lot of people, they were doing short term rentals at the time too, right? To cash flow for these
Yep.
properties. And now, because a lot of the regulations and whatnot is being difficult. But that's the one thing. I think that's why Zuber's message relates to a lot of people, right? Is not finding an alligator, always being able to cash flow as a long term rental. Kind of just some simple principles. And I think once you get out of, like you're saying, the other influencers out there that have all kind of this different message, or you need a Corvette or you need a Lambo or whatnot. Once you get to the basics, that's like the best foundation. That's why I love the community that he's building and the school community. Yeah. So I also want to kind of dig into the kind of final part of what you posted in the school community. Your mindset shifted, but now what is your kind of vision for your business? Because so you said I changed my whole business model. I stopped working 70 hours a week, killing myself to go buy a bunch of dumb shit. I drive an 11-year-old truck. I work 15 hours a week. I still make a good living, right? I take my kids to school every day, go to their events, and I'm home for dinner every night. So let's touch this a little bit.
Yeah. So basically, during the boom, I thought, I don't need to be a realtor anymore. I don't need to help people buy and sell because I'm an investor. I'm cool now. I have a $100,000 truck. I have a Corvette. I'm just going to go do my own deals. Well, clearly that didn't work. So now the shift is okay. I'm still going to go back to the basics of helping people buy and sell, but that's not going to be my full time deal. That's going to be my job. That job is going to pay my bills. That's going to pay my mortgage. That's going to, take care of everything. And then I'm going to buy one rental at a time, hopefully one a year, maybe two a year, but one at a time. And, we're going to flip to offset some of the income loss from the realtor business just because, transaction counts are really low right now. I did 48 transactions in one year. This year I'm at six. And so it kind of tells you like the transaction count is just way down. And so, flipping is kind of offsetting that a little bit, but the basics is going back and being a realtor and helping people buy and sell their houses, teach them what I know when it comes to, whether it's a residence that they're going to live in, whether it's a flip, whether it's a rental. I know it all now because I've done it all. And so that's my job. And then the flipping and the buying rental properties is kind of my long-term play. That's the goal, is to always buy long-term assets and hold them for minimum 10, 15, 20 years like Zuber says. And so that's the goal, and being a realtor and doing an occasional flip here and there is how I'm going to get there.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's the one thing about this community. We've all faced struggles, and we've all we come from different paths, and we're all kind of have that same mindset, right? We're not doing it really for the money per se. We're doing it for the time freedom. And I think that's what I also like about Zuber's community. He has this basic principle, like we're talking about no alligators, cash flow, but he's also bringing different speakers that have different backgrounds, and they're not all doing it the same way. And like Lumberjack Landlord has a big portfolio. Dion has a smaller portfolio, but they're all successful in their own way. Everyone kind of maybe follows a little bit more of a different person, but they're all kind of taking pieces. So out of the community, who would you say probably you think you relate to the most besides Zuber, as far as maybe his other speakers? Like what kind of portfolio are you looking to end up with?
Yeah, I'll probably end up being like Dion and have something small that profits the most amount of money because I don't want to have $200 or $300 and look at a spreadsheet like that would just give me a headache. I'd rather actually eventually self manage, but right now I'm not self managing, but just something small that cash flows really well. Make the most money with the least amount of work as possible.
Cool. I like that. Me too. I
Yeah.
definitely relate to that. Dion, Coach Carson. So any new investor or maybe even a person wanting to get just even like their license, a newbie in the real estate game, what would be your advice to this person?
Get with someone that's doing it and shadow them. I did this on my own, and that's the reason I made so many mistakes is because I didn't have, a mentor or somebody that I was following that could tell me, "Hey, don't buy a Corvette, stupid. This market's not going to last forever." Or go buy a $50,000 truck. Don't go buy $100,000 truck. Like if I just had that person that who's been doing what I want to do, and they could tell me what I need to hear, we would have taken a different path. And so find that mentor, find someone that you want to shadow. Tell them if you want to intern for them. I don't do whatever you got to do just to get in the room with them and just learn as much as you can.
Yeah, we don't know, right? And I think, you know, I always talk about it on my channel and the lives. We always talk about how, the school system is not set up for us to really learn about money or understand money. And I think, it kind of handcuffs you, right? Like you said, you're buying all these things. I did the same things. I wasted a lot of money on like, gym equipment and building my home gym and all these type of things, right? And I can't sell any of that stuff for the same amount of money I paid now. But if I had an asset paying for it, it'd been a lot different, right? So we all find it at a different time, right? But as long as we find it and is really taking advantage of it, I think that's what would be your saying, like, because I think a lot of people talk about how um, the rich have these secrets or the wealthy have these secrets. Do you think there's secrets out there, or is it just that these people are actually taking action, I guess, on it?
No, I don't think there's really secrets. I think every person who's rich knew somebody who taught them how to get rich. I mean, obviously there was the first person to get rich, and that was thousands of years ago or whatever. But like nowadays, it's very, I don't want to say it's easy to get rich because that's not true. But if you can find someone who is rich or someone who is not even rich, but just in a place where you want to be, they're all over. Half of them are on YouTube or on Facebook or on the Instagram. And you can DM these people and say, "Hey, how do I work for you? I want a job. I'll pay you to follow you." Like it's not, people are more accessible than ever before.
Totally agree. I mean, there's so much information out there. Like you touched on it too, and I told it a book. You bought the book. You're not much of a reader. I feel the same way. Probably after high school, I didn't really read, or after college, I didn't read much. But I do have a lot more books now, because it's something I really enjoy, like money, real estate, building wealth. So it's a lot different reading these type of things. But before we wrap things up, I also kind of want to maybe touch on as far as um, you know, South Carolina again, investing out of state. What would be your biggest challenge investing remotely or from a distance?
No, finding a team, obviously the team that's you can rely on, a good agent who's willing to comp 1,000 houses for you, even though you're only going to buy two or three of them. I've sent I send the houses to my realtor every single day. She comps them every single day. She never never fusses. She's like, okay, cool, don't buy. And she'll tell me like, hey, don't buy this, or hey, buy this at this number, or I hate that area. It's a really bad area. You probably shouldn't buy that, or hey, I love that area. So having a realtor and then the contractor. The contractor is the main thing. I talk to my contractor all the time. Um, I never pay for the job up front fully. I pay in increments, and so on an $80,000 remodel, a lot of these contractors will say, "Hey, you need to give me 40, 50K up front." Well, then they have no motivation to finish your house on time because you already paid them. And so giving them increments of, I'll give you 10 now. And then once you've done 10 grand worth of work, I'll give you another 10 or five or whatever that is. It just works out so much better because the contractor wants to get paid and they're going to do a faster job and a better job. And, just having a team. My team is fantastic out there. I wish my contractor would go farther because I find deals like an hour outside of Greenville, and he's like, I just don't really want to go that far. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm not going to buy anything if you can't do it. So, but the team is essential. I do fly out like once a month because I enjoy going out there. It's only a 3 hour flight for me, and rental cars are $100. Flights are 200-300 bucks. A hotel's 200-300 bucks. It's not really expensive, and I like just walk the houses, and I like to meet with wholesalers. I like to meet with other agents. I like to meet with whoever I can. I found my contractor a new painter because his painter was just charging him too much. So I went out and found a painter and introduced them, and now they're working together. And so just the team out there is essential, especially if you're flipping out of state.
I love that. This was great. I mean, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, your post or what you put on the school community, I think he put it on his X. Zuber put it out on his X. He posted on
Mm-hmm.
X. So
Yep.
anyone on X, I think he had on Instagram too. Maybe go check it out. It's a great message. I think a lot of people related to it in the school community. But why did you put that in the community?
Yeah, so I kind of put it out there because David Green, another content creator, attacked him that day, going after him, and it pissed me off because I'm like, David Green is the kind of guy that is the reason I did what I did. He's the reason I went and bought all this dumb shit. And for him to go and attack someone like Zuber, who's putting out the right message, it just really pissed me off. And I thought it was important for someone like me who's never met Michael Zuber, never talked to him, never had a conversation with him, to just let him know that he is doing the right thing, he is putting on the right message, and that we appreciate him, and that I think it's just different when a nobody who doesn't know the guy defends someone. It comes off so much better, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I know you didn't go to the Vegas event, the first one, but that was a lot of people's takeaway from the event. It wasn't like other real estate meetups or events. It really had this kind of family community atmosphere. No one was trying to be puff their chest out and say, I got $100 or I'm doing these type of things. Everyone was really just chit chatting, talking story, wanting to know more about other investors, what you're doing, how can I help you. It was just a different feeling. And I think that's really also why he's going to have another one. Like it was supposed to be just a one and done, and he was going to have one event. And I think he saw people just talking, having a great time, and just the community that he built. And I think that's why he's willing to do it again and have another one. So hopefully more people can join us this year, meet more people, meet new people, see what everyone's doing, and we can keep growing. So I think that's the biggest thing. And so anyone out there, I highly recommend, try out the school community. It's $20 a month. And if you don't like it, you can always quit. But I think it's a great place to meet other people, get a lot of it. And like I said, there's people in there that don't have properties yet, but they want more information. And no one is, no one's looking down on anyone for not having a property. Everyone is just like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, and how can I help you? Because I've been there. We've all made mistakes, and we would have loved to have someone that would have helped us kind of skip some of those mistakes in the beginning. I'm sure you would have.
Yeah, I'd have a few $100,000 more if I did.
Feel I feel the same way too. But yeah, this was great, and I know you're on social media. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so mostly on Instagram. I don't have like a professional account or anything like that, but
But you
it's
will,
all,
right?
I will. I'll get there. Zach Markee one, with an H, and so it's just my name with a one, and that's probably the best place to reach me is on Instagram.
All right, man. So yeah, hopefully I can see you in Vegas for the next event, and we'll do this again. Thanks, man.
Thank you.